Hello, welcome to ATW. I'm Pierre.
And I'm Jen.
Today we're going to have a special guest, my good friend Cathy Rigby.
She's a celebrity and an Olympic gymnast. She's going to share with us some of her life stories on and off the stage. You're going to like this one. We'll see you after the show. Cathy, thank you so much for being here with us and sharing your personal story. This is a topic that is very hot today, and a lot of girls battle with it, and boys too, men and women across the board. One of the things that we wanted to talk to you about was what happened through those years and how you got to that point.
Well, it's, I think the very thing that makes you good or great at what you do is it can also, that perfectionistic, I need to prove something, can also lead you down this road of eating disorders or other types of obsessive compulsive behavior. Mine actually, as a little kid, I was very active, always jumping, and so my parents put me into gymnastics. Actually, I found out about a trampoline that was near my home, and my brother brought me there, and I started jumping. I went, oh my God, I love this, and this is what I want to do the rest of my life. And I did, and I fell in love with sports. I fell in love with movement, and then I started getting good at it. And you couldn't take me out of the gym. I mean, I really loved it. Wow. And I think gymnastics is the kind of sport where, it's about perfection. It's about every move that you do has to be perfect, and you're judged immediately on that perfection. And I hit puberty. And at 16, I went from 90 pounds to about 105, which isn't a lot, and it's normal. And at that time, gymnastics was about being as skinny as you could be. Which was not healthy, but that was the trend at the time. And anyway, I was panicked, and I thought, here I am over the hill at 16 because of my weight. It was more about this ravenous need to eat, and this inability to obviously gain 1 ounce of weight. So that's when you start carving away at your body like it's a clay sculpture that you're unhappy with. And okay, if 90 pounds is good, then 85 is better. And then I'm so afraid that I'm going to gain weight that I'm going to keep carving away. So okay, if I get down to 80 pounds, and probably my lowest was about 79, then I'll be safe. But you're never safe. You never feel safe.
Cathy, what was the lowest point?
The lowest point was when it was probably around 1978, 79, and it's when I first realized that there's a big problem with this, and even then I didn't know how to stop it, but I was going to something with my first husband. We were going to a big concert event or something, and I remember standing waiting in the ladies' room and feeling so faint. And anyway, he took me to the hospital right away, and the doctor said, God, your potassium level and your electrolyte balance is so off. And we didn't know what it was until after Karen Carpenter's death. We didn't really get it. Even then I thought, oh, I'll be okay. You have this idea that you're going to be different. And it wasn't. And the shame part probably came after a while when you go, I can't get away from this behavior, and it's taking over. In that you isolate, and you look like you're working, and you're continually doing things. And I had 2 kids. I loved my babies, and I loved, loved my life. I was isolating a lot, but you just, I think I don't even know if I remember shame so much as fear of gaining weight. The body awareness became the same thing, and you talked about in the beginning looking in the mirror, and it's not that I saw that I was fat or that I was grossly overweight or any of that. It's that I saw imperfections. That it was, okay, if I lost a little bit more.
When all this was happening, where did you find your course, your way back? Does that make sense?
Yes,
okay.
I think for me, it wasn't one particular. In fact, I was afraid to even mention it. I was afraid somebody was going to take this behavior away from me. I was afraid of getting heavy. I think just it came slowly through finding a voice. People don't care whether you hit that high C perfectly. They want to hear the story. It's a bigger picture than that.
Yes.
I mean, they want to hear the high C, but
Right.
but it's about a journey that you take them on, and you have to rely on each other. It's not just about you. It's a communication team.
Yeah.
And that's creating a message. And it isn't about being perfect and exact. It's about being alive in a moment. So all of those things certainly helped. And when you fall in love with a hobby or your life starts straightening out a bit, and you deal with the dysfunction, you deal with the emotional pain you've gone through. When you're around other people, you start having a new way of thinking. And it's not always perfect, but at least you start kind of fighting back and finding your way. And somebody who deals with specifically with eating disorders, which is really important. You need to go to somebody who really understands eating disorders, not just a GP. I mean, they may guide you in the right direction, but it really is about somebody who knows. And the same with parents. If kids, especially young girls, going through that time where they're on the verge of puberty or right before, and you see it, you better take care of it now, because the longer you go with it, the more involved the person gets in the eating disorder, and it has the highest mortality rate of any mental disorder.
I love the way that you show how the theater, the energy in the theater was so much more positive than, that's what I'm hearing,
Yes,
than it
absolutely.
was in the Olympic arena, because the Olympic arena was so precise, and it is. I mean, it is very disciplined.
Yeah.
And there's nothing really wrong with being disciplined.
No, there's nothing wrong with being disciplined, but you certainly, you have to put it in perspective. I mean, and that's the hardest thing about having a top athlete, is that you're gonna, as a parent, you probably don't need to push that kid.
Yeah.
You probably need more to help them keep it in perspective, and you need to not, you almost need not comment on how well or how poorly they did, because they're going to do that anyway. And the best thing you do is go, did you work as hard as you could? Great. Come have dinner.
Yeah.
Come, you need as a parent to be their safe haven and to keep it in perspective, and not, there are lots of coaches out there that are brilliant, and there are coaches that use fear and guilt and bullying to get, and it works to a point, but what I've found is that in the end it will sabotage that athlete, in that they will white knuckle everything they do, and they don't just go for things because they're so afraid of failure. And it needs to be a feedback, not disrespectful, but one that says, do you understand what I'm saying, and do you have any questions? I want your feedback. How are you feeling? All of those, and especially parents with their kids. Be careful that you're not holding them up here, and they have to constantly live up to that. What happens if I fail? When my mom and dad survived this? I'm not as good as they think I am.
So it is definitely, it has to come back to personal
Accountability.
accountability. Exactly.
And
exactly.
If you want this, this is what you have to do. This is what we try to do at our conservatory too, is that everybody has their own unique magic and abilities, and what we try to do is find in each person what's, there's so many places you can go. Even in dance, you don't have to be a skinny ballerina.
No.
There are so many different things that are valued in it now, and maybe more so than it used to be. But I don't care if you're way overweight, if you love to dance, and you're passionate about the music and the movement, that's great. There will be a place for you.
Cathy, what issues are you passionate about now? I'm curious.
Issues, at almost 66, I have to say that I think I'm very, very passionate about family. I toured for so many years, and I traveled with family a lot, but I think the simplest thing, I think the thing that I find the most joy in, besides family, is coming to our conservatory and seeing the different personalities of the kids and the parents, and being able to just make a difference in their belief in themselves, their ability to know what working hard is. And so I believe that any child has something about them that you want to find, whether it's through dance or just giving them confidence. Those are the best moments for me.
Cathy, as your personal trainer, I always want to ask you this. What are some of the changes you made in your fitness and nutrition that you look so youthful, Cathy?
Oh, thank you.
Come on, Cathy. Share a secret, Cathy.
There's not, what, I have to say that...
Diet?
Yes, I think just cutting out so much sugar
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I think too there's I think when you get past the some of your own dysfunction, when you get past and you're happy and you're doing what you love and I'm constantly active and it's yes, it's working out. When I teach, I'm doing the stuff with them. And part of it is ego because I think I want to go, look, I can still do this. So you hit the splits and you do more push-ups.
Now, when you were battling with your eating disorder and you were a gymnast, as far as energy levels, how did you maintain?
I don't know.
How did you maintain?
Well, it got the worst towards my second Olympics, and I think it did play a role in energy level because I remember standing on the end of balance beam doing a move and doing one of those needle, stands like this and just being dizzy.
Right.
Just continuing and, we didn't know about it then, but just in general, I think my body was so used to going so much, and my pain threshold was pretty high, but it's something that almost, I think it did get in the way of learning some things that I could have learned or been better at before the Olympics, but you're too weak, you're too tired.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today. This has been such a pleasure. So awesome.
Yeah.
I love you guys.
I love you, friend.
Thank you for all
Thank
you. Jen, I'm not as familiar with your career, but good luck on it. And Pierre, thank you for all the lives you touch and the energy. I've seen you also in your gym, and there's nobody with more energy and more passion and more kick somebody in the booty for getting to believe in themselves. And
thank you, Cathy. I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you.
Keeping my husband in shape.
Of course, Cathy. Of course.
Cathy, whenever we have a guest on our show, we have them pick a conversation stick. We call it pick a stick. It's basically just like a little topic, and so that we can know a little bit more about you as we send you on your way.
What if I don't know the answer?
Yes, you do. We'll have to shuffle it for you, Cathy.
Wait, are the answer on the bottom there?
Well,
No. Pick one, Cathy.
Okay.
Pick one and then just read it.
Favorite TV show?
Ooh.
Ever.
Crime shows.
Okay.
Ever. So if you were going to see your last show, the last show you could ever watch, what would it be?
It would be On Borrowed Time. It's called On Borrowed Time.
Okay.
It's a story about this older gentleman in a wheelchair, and he has a grandson that he's taking care of. And the angel of death comes, and it says basically it's your time, and he will not go. He does not want to go, and he basically does something so the angel of death gets stuck in a tree.
Oh.
He gets stuck in a tree, and nobody dies.
Wow.
But then the consequences of that happen.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. That was such an awesome episode. We had so much wisdom and information that Cathy shared that was so interesting about her journey on and off the stage. Really cool.
So please join us next week for another great episode.
Until then,
we hope all things work out for you. Bye.